Hello, friends. We're back. Your favorite podcast of the week is Location Weekly. It's episode number 641. For my Canadian friends, it is Canadian Thanksgiving today. So happy Thanksgiving to all of you. And you guys have a holiday too, do you not, Brianna?
Yes, we do. It is the holiday formerly known as Columbus Day or now Indigenous Peoples Day. So kids are off from school. However, we are still working, most of us.
Exactly. Same. Yeah. Uh,
uh,
yeah. How have you been?
I've been good. It's been, we've had like rain almost every weekend, but during the week we get this really lovely fall weather. So that's kind of where we are right now. And although, postseason baseball was not game one that I was hoping for, we have another game tonight. So
There you
excited to
go.
watch the Braves play and win.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, and it was nice to see you in New York on Tuesday, and we had like good weather. That was nice. So
Well,
yeah, absolutely.
always good to see, we see each other all the time, but not in person.
Not in person. There you go. All right. Well, we've got four stories for you all this week, so we'll jump right into it and let Aubriana start us off.
All right. So this is a fundraising story. And there is a Kolkata-based data provider. It's called Data Sutram. And they provide insights to banks on customer behavior based on their locations. And it's using an AI platform. Big surprise, right? Well, they have now raised $3 million in funding, and it's Series A. This was led by Bharat Fund. And they had some other participants as well in this, including Singularity Growth Funds, and existing investors are Indian Angel Network, India Infoline, and White Venture Capital are some of the others. So they are looking to use these funds to expand into new markets, like some of the Gulf countries and Southeast Asian region, and increase their product offerings. So right now, what they're currently doing is they're collating more than 250 data sources, right? And they offer three key products. One is DS Find, there's DS Authenticate, and DS Grow. So they are saying that they can cater to over 50 different enterprises in India today, 20 of which of these are these large financial institutions. And then they're also developing a product that's related to collections. So obviously, that's important to banks and some other functional areas. So overall, they've raised $6 million in funding to date. I think this is interesting because, when you think about bank specific data providers, I don't really know that there's a ton that really market themselves or package themselves that way. So I think that, a lot of times we think of maybe like hedge fund data providers, but not necessarily banking. So maybe this is an interesting niche for them, but not too much to add there. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add to this. I think I agree with you that there's not a lot of companies out there that are focusing specifically on the banking sector when it comes to location data. Obviously, some of the more traditional, the Esris of the world, work with banks, in that sector from a site selection point of view or evaluating branch locations or those kinds of things. And I'm assuming that, they play, Data Sutram plays in that space here as well. But, I think they're, from what I understand, they've worked in retail, they've worked in other categories, but they're kind of now focusing specifically on this, which I think is good and interesting. And it's funny because everybody's like, AI, location intelligence now, and what does that actually mean, and how are you applying it to these data platforms, and ultimately, what are the insights that are derived from this that these banks can use, right? And ultimately, and then being able to action on that, right? So even with our platform at ground level, I think we provide a lot of data. I think we provide a lot of insights, but there's always those customers that look at it and go, well, yeah, this is super interesting, this is super valuable, but what do we actually do with it? Like, how do we use this? Like, how do we action upon it so that it's going to impact our business? And I think that's where there's still a gap. And if AI can kind of fill that in terms of making recommendations or those kinds of things, then I think that's a good thing.
There you go.
There you go. All right. So jumping over to our second story now, this is a story about DoorDash. And this one's very interesting to me because we all know DoorDash. I think most of us have used DoorDash to order, from restaurants and things like that. And especially during COVID, these kinds of delivery services took off. But they're testing right now a new rewards program that offers DoorDash credits for customers who actually go physically and dine in at a local restaurant. So it's called Dine Out, and allows users to earn credits by swiping and they check in when they get to a restaurant. And they're just testing this on a very limited scale in a select number of markets and very few restaurants at the moment. But one person who's used this said that they thought it was pretty significant in that she screenshotted the offer that she got and showed that she got $20 in DoorDash credits just for checking in at some local restaurants. Like that's significant if that's the kind of size of what they're encouraging here. So they're testing this in the San Francisco area. I think that it's interesting, right? Because in some respects, you could say that these sort of delivery app services, maybe have kind of peaked in terms of customer acquisition. And on the other side, the restaurant brands that are, willing to work with them. And so maybe this is a way, for them to kind of just change the game and say, hey, you know what? We can drive traffic to your physical restaurants. And as we're doing that, you should also partner with us on the delivery side and kind of have it be more of a holistic, approach where at the end of the day, the consumer is, whether they're getting takeout, delivery or they're dining in, traffic's being driven and purchases are happening. So I think this is super interesting. I like it. And it could be a great way for them to onboard, new restaurants to their platform that maybe have stayed out of delivery.
Well, I think this is an excellent idea for maybe diversifying their revenue streams. So think about kind of the timeline of DoorDash. So when they started off by delivering food, obviously, I'm sure that their, how would you say? I guess their app usage probably doubled or tripled throughout the pandemic. And now they've got this massive addressable audience that still orders food, but they're saying, okay, how can I reach them and provide a new service? Well, the new service is not necessarily new to them. They're just giving some opportunities to drive them. What are they generating? Data. They are generating data that they could repackage and resell. They're also generating, I would say a new opportunity to sell those insights back to the retailers or the restaurateurs, I should say. I just think there's they really thought this through because there's probably not just one new revenue stream, but maybe 4 or 5 that could come off of this. So super smart. And I think this is something they will likely scale.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
All right. So staying with the restaurant theme, let's go to this company called Olo. That's OLO. And this is a business that enables over 600 restaurant brands. They scale online ordering and delivery. So they make data-driven business decisions and personalize the guest experience on and off premise, not prison. Nobody wants to be there. On and off premise. So they're working with over 75,000 restaurants already. They're based here in New York. Now they have incorporated this partnership with SoundHound AI. And really what they're doing is that restaurants that work already with the Olo Connect product will be able to process voice orders that are placed at an in-store kiosk, a drive-through, or over the phone. So what's really interesting is this platform, SoundHound, The system can learn any restaurant's menu. It can be it can be deployed to help perform tasks like processing orders, answering customer questions, and then upsells, add-ons, special offers, all those different things. So those voice orders, they're like transmitting them directly to the Olo platform, and then it integrates with the restaurant's operations. Apparently, SoundHound has a patented voice AI that they, have, that they're saying it's understanding natural human speech. So there's like no, I think that's really the hardest thing to do, honestly, with the software these days. And, I think this is interesting because I think voice is so important. And a lot of times the time that it takes to, I think of, okay, I'm going to go order Fresh Direct or Instacart, or, I'm going to place an order at Chipotle, and I'm going to do all of this through my mobile app. Honestly, it takes a lot of time. I still have to step away and actually perform that order and like have a level of concentration and focus versus just being able to speak to it, perhaps while I'm doing something else. And so I think that if you want to be able to encourage passive ordering and having like this voice on demand service, if you will, to minimize friction in customer experiences, like that is a very big opportunity for many restaurants, retailers, what may it be, like delivery services, to just increase their revenue very quickly. So I like this. I don't really know these companies very well, but I'd love to learn more about you. So reach out. We'd love to hear a
Yeah.
little bit more. But what do you think about this story?
Yeah, I think it's super interesting. I mean, I've known Olo for a long time from the restaurant space, and Noah, the founder. But yeah, SoundHound's kind of new to me. It seems super interesting. Like if it can learn the way that it sounds like it can learn, and then sort of integrate that easily, I think this could be super valuable to these restaurants. And from an Olo point of view, they're super well known, very well deployed within the restaurant industry, and I think that adding layers like this, to sort of increase, or find new revenue streams, is always a good thing, right? So similar to what we're saying with DoorDash. So I like it a lot. I don't have a lot to say about it, but I'm super interested in the SoundHound technology and want to learn more about it too.
There you go.
Okay. All right. Final story now. We're going to jump over to Eastern Europe, and Volkswagen over there, along with Toyota, Lexus, and Peugeot Citroën, are doing some interesting things on digital signage on highways. And so they're iMedia, which is a company over there that specializes in highway out-of-home digital advertising, is testing or has been running an ad campaign for those four brands that I mentioned earlier, that uses cameras to essentially analyze the license plate, the number plates of the cars going by on the highways. And then as they kind of pass the digital screen that's coming, sort of a little bit further along, they're able to then, based on reading that and matching it in sort of the database, I guess the licensing database, they know what those vehicles are, and then in real time they can target drivers with a competitive set of brand advertising, based on one of these vehicles. So audiences can then be defined by like sort of the age of the vehicle or some other factors, and then basically you're getting a real time ad for a car that is a competitive car to the one you're driving, essentially. So they ran this campaign through August and into September, which the timing of which was in this part of the world, I guess, coincides with when you have new car registrations happening. It's also the busiest time of the year for traffic on these highways because of the bank holidays and the end of school holidays there. And so apparently roughly about 8 million weekly visitors are passing by these digital signs. So I think this is interesting. I think it's not the first time I've seen this before, but definitely I think if you have the ability to customize ads or be more personalized, whether that's an in-store media network or a highway-based media network. I think that's always a good thing. It's always, something that, you're going to get, a better response rate to. So I like it a lot. I think it's, something we're going to see more and more of right now.
So I think this is interesting. I also think it's a little bit creepy, the
Okay.
fact that they're looking at license plates and that they can query that in real time for display ads. I mean, that's very interesting to me. But I think that I would be down with it maybe if it was just recognizing the specific vehicle, like through, a photo kind of recognition type of a way. The license plate thing is throwing me a little bit. But back to your point, I think the personalization or contextual relevance of an ad, because it's not necessarily personalized, because, there's probably tens of thousands, if not more, of people who drive that specific model of a vehicle. So it is an audience. So I think that in that sense, it's very contextual and it's relevant, and I think that's very important. So I applaud that piece of it.
All right. Well, that's our show for this week, everybody. Also, I just want to remind you all, our Retail Loco conference is just around the corner, November 1st and 2nd in Atlanta. You can just go to thelbma.org, click on events, and you'll see all the information there. We would love to see you down there in person. There's so many great speakers. We just confirmed keynotes from Kroger and Home Depot. So, super exciting stuff. And we're doing that conference in partnership with Simon Malls and Nobu Hotels. So a lot of good things going on there. Maybe Aubriana will be there. We don't know yet. It's possible. It's possible.
Always possible. That's
Yeah.
right.
There might be a sighting in person. So it could happen. So, but yeah, love to see you all down there for Retail Loco. And yeah, that's it for today. We'll be back next week with another show. Have a great week, everybody. And again, if you're in Canada here, happy Thanksgiving. Lots to be thankful for, of course. And to our friends in the States, happy Indigenous Peoples Recognition.
Right.
So
Happy.
Happy. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.